Coming up tonight on the news at 5, the deadline to enroll in health insurance under the Affordable Care Act is fast approaching. Plus, all of your library needs will be met at your fingertips with the Great Falls Library's new text service.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 5.
Good afternoon and welcome to the news at 5. I'm Jessica Nelson. Thank you for joining us. 2 years ago, MTN News reported on a substantial reorganization of the state corrections department and how some employees felt it was a form of retaliation against those who had criticized the director and top management. Now, a former employee's human rights complaint stemming from those moves is finally coming to a head. MTN's Mike Dennison, who wrote the initial stories, tells us about this latest development.
In a 2018 reorganization at the State Department of Corrections, the agency's government relations director, Adrienne Cotton, had her position eliminated. Several months earlier, she had accused Department Director Reg Michael of sexual harassment and said her dismissal was a form of retaliation. Cotton made that claim in a human rights complaint filed against the state. And next Monday, that complaint finally gets a formal hearing before a State Department of Labor hearings officer in Helena. The hearing is expected to run several days, and the witness list includes Cotton, Michael, former DOC employees, and Governor Steve Bullock's former chief of staff, who signed off on the 2018 reorganization. The Corrections Department declined to comment this week, but Michael has consistently denied the charges, and the Bullock administration says a personnel investigation did not substantiate them either. It also has said the reorganization in no way targeted any specific employees. Cotton and other former employees think differently, and some may testify at the hearing. They say the reorganization, in part, was meant to get rid of employees who had criticized agency management as ineffective, or who had expressed support for accusations that Michael had harassed or mistreated women at the office. Cotton's initial complaint was rejected last year by the head of the State Human Rights Bureau. But in a rare move, the full State Human Rights Commission on Cotton's appeal decided to reinstate the complaint, leading eventually to next week's hearing. The hearing begins at 9 a.m. Monday. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
If the hearings officer rules in Cotton's favor, she could be awarded damages. Cotton also has filed a separate wrongful discharge lawsuit, which has been on hold while the human rights complaint proceeds. Well, I got out a little bit earlier today. The sun was shining, and then I was sitting at my desk this afternoon, and it just seemed like dark clouds.
Yeah, a little front is certainly moving into the state here, and it's just a little front. It's producing a little snow into the northern part of the state, but yeah, this is a busy satellite image. I showed this yesterday, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 areas of low pressure really in the Pacific region. 2 are actually kind of moving into the western United States, but all of this storminess is eventually going to come east here, and all that storminess, all that high number of low pressures kind of in a close proximity, also making it a little difficult, a little more complicated to forecast here than normal. There you can see some of that snow with the clouds increasing that Jessica and a lot of us noticed through this afternoon. We'll take a closer look at where the snow is falling coming up, but strength in numbers, a bunch of low pressures finally beginning to come loose here from the Pacific, and they will be moving through the western United States. So there will be an increase in stormy activity here. A solo sunny day tomorrow. After that, more clouds coming through and lots of little snow events. I'll explain coming up in the full forecast.
State and locally reported data shows Montana's COVID-19 case total is just over 70,000. More than 16,000 of those cases are active. 804 Montanans have died as a result of complications with the virus. Now keep in mind, MTN is using a combination of sources to deliver the most accurate count on cases each day, because local county health departments may be alerted to cases before Montana DPHHS. As big medical facilities across the state prepare to receive the coronavirus vaccine as early as next week, some smaller medical facilities are doing everything they can to make sure they can get the vaccine too. The CEO of Marias Medical Center in Shelby says the hospital has applied to be part of the vaccine program. but there's no telling when the hospital will get the vaccine. The hospital has 6 beds available for COVID patients. Luckily, not all of them are full right now, but he worries that could change after the holidays. He says he is staying positive, waiting for the vaccine.
Knowing that there's, light at the end of the tunnel and on the horizon is definitely positive and optimistic. And I know there's going to be a process of how that has to go. So I don't get frustrated with it. We just got to keep ourselves educated and informed and, tackle it when it comes our way.
The state is expected to receive about 10,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine as early as December 15th. Well, the deadline to enroll in health insurance under the Affordable Care Act is fast approaching. Open enrollment ends December 15th. That's next Tuesday. If you miss the deadline, you probably will not be able to get coverage under the ACA again until 2022. But there is still time and a program available to help you get signed up. Montana Navigator is a free program funded by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The program will be offering enrollment assistance over the phone and Zoom until next week. Montana Navigator's program director says the pandemic has left a lot of people signing up for health insurance for the very first time.
What worries me is over the past year, we've seen thousands of people across the state lose their health insurance plan through their job because they lost their job. And all of these thousands of people have probably never had to shop for health insurance before, maybe ever.
Montana Navigator will have expanded hours over the next week to make sure people get signed up. You can go to healthcare.gov to learn more. The investigation into a Great Falls woman found dead in a storage locker earlier this year is now complete. At a news conference this afternoon, Cascade County Sheriff Jesse Slaughter said Sally Smith died of an intentional drug overdose. She was found inside her car in a storage locker near Malmstrom Air Force Base back in September. Slaughter says suicide notes were found in the storage locker. The car had been running and blankets had been piled around the storage locker door to seal in carbon monoxide from the car.
This isn't typical of my releases. I often typically will contact the media and you guys will typically not run these type of stories. However, due to the amount of media attention regarding this case, I felt this information could help stop any further speculation into the matter.
If you or anyone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide, help is available. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is staffed by trained professionals 24/7. You just call the number right there on your screen, or you can text the crisis text line at 74-1741. And speaking of texting, a new texting service is being introduced at the Great Falls Public Library. The texting service is called Shout Bomb, and it was designed to allow readers to stay up to date with all of their library account information right from their cell phone. If you sign up, you can receive text message notices about items available for pickup, items that are due soon, overdue items, and fines. The library does not charge a fee for the texting service, but regular text message rates do apply. The Great Falls Public Library hopes this new text service will make book reading more enjoyable than ever.
We just really hope this texting service will open the door for more people to enjoy reading and give people another option to keep up with their library account.
To register for Shout Bomb's text service, you can simply text sign up, all one word, to 406-215-4240. Okay, when we come back, what parts of the state could see snow later this week and how much? Curtis will break it all down for us in the full forecast. And later, if you want to put 2020 behind you, purchase a 2021 calendar. I'll have more on the Mason calendar, who it supports, and how it's making a difference every year.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grebeness.
Welcome back, everybody. Good Wednesday afternoon to you all. Another very nice day, although things are changing. Great Falls, 35 degrees right now. Why is that significant? Well, it was 59 for the high earlier today, so the temperatures are coming down pretty quickly. 44 degrees in Helena, west wind gusting now up to 25 miles per hour, highs right around the lower 50s. But there's a cold front that is starting to move through the western part of the state. You can still see some of that warmth out into the eastern part of Montana. A winter weather advisory for light snow. Now, some of this is already accumulated. When all is said and done, 1 to 3 inches in the lower elevations, tops 5 inches into the higher terrain of the Bob Marsh Wilderness and also up there around Glacier. So here's the radar, and some areas, again, especially up there on the High Line, north central Montana, beginning to see a little snow. Great Falls, maybe a couple of raindrops. I say maybe because it's 35 degrees right now and it's colder aloft, so there could be a couple of flakes of snow flying. There will be a little light accumulation of snow around the Highwood Mountains here through the rest of this evening. There's some of that snow around Glacier and Hart Butte, out through Browning and Cut Bank. Shelby picking up a little snow. Up here on the High Line, it could be a little slick with some of the snow coming down around the Bear Paw Mountains, including the Rocky Boy Indian Reservation. There may be a little in the way of some accumulation, 1-2 inches on the north slopes. Great for Bear Paw ski area. Hopefully seeing a little bit of some snow. Also a little snow into the northeast here, but otherwise pretty quiet. So for the rest of this evening, spotty light snow, north central Montana, generally in between Havre down through Lewistown, Great Falls, seeing a little snow flurry activity here this evening off the Rocky Mountain front around East Glacier and Cut Bank, picking up a little snow out there as well. And that will continue into tomorrow morning for just a very small area before that next little system moves out, and we'll be looking at increasing sunshine for most of the state through Thursday afternoon. It's looking at like another really nice day, although it will not be as warm. Now, heading into Friday, a lot of cloud cover, and you're probably seeing some of that snow moving in. There will likely be a little area of some light snow coming up the Rocky Mountain fronts and the Continental Divide and working its way through central Montana as we go through Friday here. Very little, very light, but we do have some snow to talk about finally. So there's that thin little area of some light snow north central Montana into the central part of the state. Lewistown could see a little coating up to maybe an inch of snow. And then heading into Friday, just a little bit of some accumulation coming up here. So we could have a coating of snow on Friday around Helena up to Great Falls. Nothing heavy, little and light. For tonight, temperatures down into the 20s, so there will be a few slick spots, especially where we're seeing some of that snow. Might mix even with a couple of raindrops here initially, but overall, just a little light snow around Lewistown through north of the Helena area. Helena should be dry. There could be a couple of snow showers up on the Continental Divide. And for tomorrow, it's another mostly sunny day for a lot of the state, although one of these temperatures a little cooler. Could be a couple of flurries near the Little Belts and the Big Snowies early in the morning, and Helena should be right near 40 degrees with mostly sunny skies yet again. Friday, a little light snow. Saturday, a little light snow. That looks like a real stormy forecast here. However, little and light are the operative words here all the way through Tuesday. All of those days with a little chance of snow or period snow could accumulate up to maybe an inch or two over the next week total. Great Falls, maybe a little coating tonight. Also Friday, a coating up to an inch. Saturday, a few snow showers in the morning. Sunday into Monday, the next system comes through. And again, into next Tuesday, there could be as much as an inch or two total cumulative accumulation.
As we approach the new year, many people are wondering what is next for our economic recovery. Take a look.
9 months ago, at the start of the pandemic, experts were optimistic and agreed.
If everyone is really good about doing what needs to be done for this health crisis and it's shorter in nature, it could be just coming back into things as usual.
We could turn this around this year, I think. I still think there is real hope for that.
Even with some required shutdowns, the U.S. had a shot at seeing a fast V-shaped recovery, or more likely, a slightly slower but still good U-shaped recovery.
And there was also the L, which meant that we were going to go down to the bottom and no one knew where it was going to go. And then there was the W, which meant we were going to come down, come up. And actually, that's pretty much what's happening.
Jonathan Drapkin is the president of the Hudson Valley Pattern for Recovery and points out the dreaded W or L-shaped scenarios experts feared back then appear to be more in line with what the U.S. is actually experiencing now.
It's definitely more of an L.
Elise Gold is an economist with the Economic Policy Institute.
Unfortunately, I think any hope for a quick recovery has gone by the wayside. Over the last few months, we've actually seen the recovery slow. So when we saw last month, we had a gain of 245,000 jobs, much slower than the month before, slower than the month before that. And so at this rate, we could be years away from a full recovery.
According to Bankrate's senior economist Mark Hamrick, we could also be seeing both a swift recovery and a worsening one simultaneously.
My sense for many months now has been that this has really been a so-called K-shaped recovery. And why do we call it a K? Because essentially we have one leg moving up and the other moving down, and that's indicative of this have and have not economy.
Hamrick points out that unemployment for higher income workers is back to pre-recession levels, while lower income workers are still struggling with elevated levels of unemployment.
My concern is that the people who have been hurt by this downturn are not going to heal economically quickly.
Whether we have moved from a V or U-shaped recovery to more concerning W, L, or even K-shape, all of our experts agree the way out of this alphabet soup of economic recovery paths and to normalcy is with a vaccine and wide distribution of it.
The other thing that can truly help in the short term is a stimulus package out of Washington.
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
If you are looking forward to putting 2020 behind you and moving on, you need to pick up the Mason Moore Foundation 2021 calendar. 2021 will be the fourth year for the calendar. The calendar helps local law enforcement agencies pay for critical safety equipment and other items. The foundation and the calendar were created by Jody Moore. Moore's husband, Broadwater Sheriff's Office Deputy Mason Moore, was fatally shot in the line of duty in May of 2017. The mission of the calendar is to put a human face on first responders.
Inside that letter, specifically said, don't let hate take over your life, let love win. And because of today's society and everybody hating on police departments and all that kind of stuff, not every police officer is created equal. There are more good police officers than there are bad.
The calendar is $15. To find out where you can get one, visit this story on our website. Coming up next on the news at 5, many devastating challenges have hit this team, but they continue to fight through their season. More on the Great Falls High School boys basketball team when we come back.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 5.
Welcome back with us. Winter sports practices started this week at the high school level, and at Great Falls High, the boys basketball team is opening the year with high expectations and heavy hearts. Tom Wiley explains.
The Great Falls High boys are back on the court preparing for the upcoming basketball season. And after a disrupted summer due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they are grateful for the opportunity to suit up.
You know, we're pretty fortunate to be able to start. There's a lot of states that aren't even considering playing spring sport or fall winter sports, and you know, hopefully get a start and we keep going.
And it's shaping up to be a pivotal year for the Bison boys. Their postseason run was cut short in March when the AA tournament was called off, but they returned 3 senior starters who happened to be their top 3 scorers from a year ago: Levi Torgerson, Terrell Rollins, and Drew Wyman, who led the state in scoring and rebounding last season.
We got 3 starters returning, which is huge for us, and we got some younger classmen stepping up. We got sophomore Reed Harris, so I think he's going to have a big impact this year. And I think our whole team in general is just going to be really strong, so I think we're going to do well on the boards this year. So that should all help us, and I think we have a chance at it.
But the Bison also opened the year with heavy hearts. Longtime assistant Ken Maddox passed away in November, and his presence is sorely missed in Swarthout Fieldhouse.
Basically is the Bison program here. He was coaching in the Bison program, girls and guys, long before I got here, and just a great guy, and I mean, he'd never be replaced. Knew everybody, got along with everybody, and just tremendous asset.
But to a man, the Bison know that Maddox's memory will provide extra motivation.
He was a devoted person. Like, everything he did was just trying to impact others in a positive way. So we can go out and give our all. Like, we know that's what he would have wanted and that's what he would have did. So stuff like that, like going the extra mile, I know he would want us to do that. So we're going to give our best to do that.
Tom Wiley, MTN Sports.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break.
When we welcome our West Coast viewers, freezer farms, trucks, police escorts, planes, the ambitious and delicate plan to get COVID vaccines in place. Also, the holiday shipping crunch and this week's important deadline when we see you back here for Nightly News.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 5.
All right, thank you so much for joining us this evening. That is all for us. Nightly News is next. I'll see you back here tomorrow.